Well, the skull, I stumbled across this the DVD Blu-ray multi-pack. Exact same, I don't know if it's this one or other one, but they're both the same. It was in,
Aren't you pleased to see me?
I think it might have been Scope up near Cafe Indie,
Get out.
and it was for 50p.
I said
Couldn't
get out.
believe it. Exact same one I thought, well, so now I've got a spare one of the skull.
And quickly.
Spare DVD stroke Blu-ray combi pack.
You're usually glad to see me.
Yes, but
Why else did you give me a key?
See, this thing it's a selfie stick as well, but I've never actually, I think I used it once as a selfie stick when went to this church, Butterick area, but I don't feel comfortable walking around the street with it, like, so it's useful, like, it'd be useful for you to get one for the Dennis Hodge conference calls, because you'd be able to put it on that. You don't have to worry about propping it up or wedging it between something or holding it. You can prop that somewhere where you're clearly inside, tuck away into your Mexican rice and your bedded chicken.
What we having that for a bit of, I think.
But that session last week put you off.
Well, it's not just the food. I reckon I was just pretty rat-assed to eat it,
Yeah, but
to feel it.
I think you probably had it maybe a bit too often, maybe, you know, same old.
Yeah, but if you gobble it down, like I reckon it's just me feeling ill.
So you're
I
not.
think if there's any food that will. I think if it was put any food down, I wouldn't probably touch it that night.
See, that's the problem with any kind of bourbon. Like, once you get the first one for me is always a bit harsh. The first one I had at bottle. Like I once treated myself to one from Tesco's, Buffalo Trace. The first one I'm like, oh, because it was reduced from like 20 quid club card price, something like that.
That looks similar to what I got. Because other plastic skull looks normal, but the one I got looks a bit evilish, just like this one.
What else we had? We had. I told you we had the other week. I got it out of my birthday money. Even Gusher liked it. Maker's Mark bought whiskey. Yeah, it was nice. Between us, it lasted less than a week. But we bought Buffalo Trace were nice, and so that Maker's Mark. There's quite a few up mine trying, but it's like some of those more expensive Jack Daniels and more expensive Jim Beams. You know, you've got your Jack Daniels rye, which is like 45% or 47%. Your single barrel rye, you know, which is normally like 45, 50 quid for a $70 bottle. It's a bit dear, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you've got more brass than sense, then yeah, you can, you know, it's pocket money. But for those on the average wage, to get like a single bottle of whiskey, which is like, well, bourbon whiskey, whatever.
That's why mine lasts me 5 weeks. Because you know, I have like two double shots every Saturday.
That's it. I never really, I mean, to say that a litre would last me a week. But it won't be like a couple like those what we had today and night. And before you know it, it's like the fuel gauge in your car when it starts off full.
So,
Next thing you know, when you get to halfway mark, it doesn't seem to last as long on the second half of the fuel tank as the first half. It seems to go down quicker. And sometimes as well with that litre bottle, there's that much left in the bottom and you think, oh, that's not much. When you come to put it in glass, it can fill that glass about 3/4 of the way. You're thinking, bloody hell. It's like close to a quadruple, if not a triple, a fifth, a 5 times single.
Oh, that was about a full night, that would.
the figures represent the hierarchy.
But it's deceptive though, in bottle. You think that the bottle's nearly empty, but when you come to pour it in, it goes past the halfway mark and a bit some. You think, oh. Because I tried to pour it back in, I didn't have a funnel. And I thought, well, this way I'm going to spill more that's going into the bottle. There's going to be more waste than anything else. So it lasted me a couple of hours, like, little sip, little sip. But the problem is, you start getting a bit carried away with that, even though we are now, we feel fine. It come later on, that's when it hits you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like that Sir Dennis Hodge, the first ever Sir Dennis Hodge. Even though I was compass mentis, to me I sounded like even though I was saying it, I sounded hyper. I sounded like I was 3 parts pissed then. I think I may have a minor hangover that morning, but very minor. Because I probably, like you, but not as fast as you, shoveled more down in a shorter space of time than I would do normally. And normally, I take my time. Otherwise, as you know, you clutter it down too much, and you end up like you've been keeping next door to a matic road drill on full power.
Stop, Mr. Maitland. He's got more money than you have. 775. 1,500 pounds. 1,500. 1,500 once. 1,500 twice. So, Mr. Matthew Phillips. Ladies and gentlemen,
That's the protective for me, though, isn't it?
So I suggest we break for lunch and
Protect him?
at 2:30 this afternoon.
Yeah, because he had the school then, didn't he?
No, his school's been nicked, hasn't it?
Ah.
Well, he has got the school. And in between him and that Marco turning up on his second visit.
Yeah.
What did you want? Well, I thought they'd go well with my collection at the right price. What did you want that's so bad? I don't know. I really don't know.
So now that, I mean, hopefully, in a few hours' time, the whole stuff will be fine, but it's like at the moment I'm like, oh, pardon me, that was a bit loud. Now I can feel like I've swallowed a fucking medicine ball. That was a loud part. The way we do these coffee to beer ratios, it's almost like what we used to do when we used to pound the streets of London.
Yeah.
Because we
I reckon a pound of energy taken to pound the streets of burning off the alcohol that we're drinking.
plus
Like, by the time we get to the next pub, we're pretty sober.
Mrs. Maitland, may I see your husband?
The amount of energy is burning up.
it were a vicious circle, wasn't it? Because
Burning the alcohol
He's
up.
never too busy.
So we're drinking a lot, but we're burning it up, so we're still sober by the time we got to Hollywood. Was that right? No, it felt like we had to drink all day.
well, apart from that one time when I'm sure it might have been that night.
Has he brought anything with him?
Because I remember once we were in London, it was dark because the lights on the Westminster Embankment were lit up.
Why do you have to do business with
And I know you wanted a picture of those lamps on the embankment, but you wanted some particular ones that we've seen in a daytime
Yeah.
sorted, but the ones we found just weren't the ones, were they?
It got too dark by then.
Yeah, because that must when we come over that bridge, which
The unknown's always intriguing.
And sometimes dangerous.
it would have been Tower Bridge, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
When we saw them beefeaters at the side ready to shut up at night.
We was pretty lucky then.
But we didn't go in, did we? But we could see them outside, about to shut the side gate. I think that's when we walked onto the Thames embankment then, just past the tower.
Nah, I was saying from walking through East End and Tower,
I'm sorry to come unannounced and so late.
half the time we was looking not to bump into somebody gangs
I'm not intruding.
down some certain streets.
Something choice. Very choice. Why don't you show me?
But there's that one. It might have been that same night. No, I can't think, because
Life, notorious market.
I know we had an awkward time getting to Victoria because there was a partial industrial action on some of the tube lines, and we wanted to go to Victoria to see the Victoria Palace where Carol London was performed, and that's where we went to that pub, the stage door. We had a nice fish and chip, but obviously we wanted to make sure we weren't going to ruin the evening at the Hollybush. We went for that dilute blackcurrant, and it was more dilute than blackcurrant.
It's just like a pint of water and just put a little colouring in it. I taste it, it tastes like water. What the? It's like,
These were only rumours.
I don't know.
But it's
Something with funny is a bit more, because I've used to, I've used to really do.
yeah. I say look, I said look, Lauren, I'm not being funny like, but this ain't cheap, and the taste to me is more water than a blackcurrant. You know,
Most interesting.
it looks like blackcurrant, but it just looks like coloured water and tastes like coloured water.
How much do you want?
I said, it looks like blackcurrant, does look blackcurrant, but it tastes like coloured water.
It's flavor. You know the flavoured water you get. It was like that. It's just.
What's it made of? Skin.
I reckon that's one of the bad,
You see, it is very special.
worst pubs to ask for that. Because they give you a proper. Because when you give it to you properly, a pint of blackcurrant is like it's proper dark, like
These other
Vimto,
things.
you know.
The crooks and
Yeah.
Sartre
But
fashion
that's
from
as
the
pale
Bible.
as hell.
That shriveled hand of glory stolen from a grave in
So I
Mainz.
think we're pretty late leaving London then.
This knife,
It was one of them nights where we were at Victoria.
notorious
And obviously we
knife
had to
man.
like work our way back because not all the tube lines were open for business.
Into their pedigree.
Or if it was that night where we must have come all from the Southwark end over the Tower Bridge. We cut down.
Targets.
We cut down that little side street which brings you out at the side of the tower,
£200, not a penny less.
and then went towards the Westminster Embankment that
Deeper look
way.
into your world of
That at some point we
fantasy
must have
and
been our way
imagination,
back, but
and how useful
we
it all is.
got the wrong bloody bus at Edgware,
Cash, please.
and we ended up totally bypassing Elstree, and ended up pit stop at the train station, and then it went up into not far from where Paul Hussein left the Hollybush to go to the Shooting Star, now the Oak. Where that bus terminated, literally, we all sat up left hand side while he turns lights up and talks to his mates on the bus. It must be the end of his shift. If you look from across the green there, in the distance was now the Oak. Then it was the Shooting Star. Somehow we must have got a message from Ray, who must have minded the bar again on a Saturday, that there was no point in going back because there was no happening, and he was shutting up shop. And that's when the bus driver took us back to the bus stop terminus, whatever, Elstree and Bournemouth train station car park. Then we went into the Wellington whether or not we only had the 1 pint there because we wanted to catch the pizza place before it shut.
We had just for 1 pint and that was it.
We should have stayed for a bit more, shouldn't we?
I think they were shutting up actually, I think.
I don't know. Yeah, see, because there were the regulars still there all supping.
Oh yeah. But that pub's probably it's been transformed now, isn't it?
Oh yes, but it had, from what I can gather, it had just been refurbished literally a month or two before the first lockdown. But because they've got such good a relationship with the brewery, that they set up that WD6 shop, so it became like a farm shop where you could buy eggs, flour, bacon and that, and then eventually you could bring your containers down, and because obviously otherwise the beer would have gone off, you could have 3 or 4 pints at really at the same price of what's cost us to get these tins. Because obviously they would have at least they would have made some profit, not much, but at least they wouldn't have suffered a loss. And it was that curbside collection, get in touch with us, bring your containers down, if not we've got some containers, different quantities, and then go to where the thing is, the Oak, which was a shooting star, they couldn't stay open under the
I'll tell Mr. Maitland.
whatever it was, the COVID Zone 2 or COVID Zone 3, whatever it was. Because you were in level 1, weren't you? We were level 2.
Mm.
But you could only open then as a pub if you had what I call a substantial meal, where the Oak said they couldn't compete with that, so they had to remain shut, whereas the Wellington carried on. Although then they said, well, actually you can't even do takeaway alcohol now. So they started doing like Sunday dinners and then meals during the week, and they were selling out pretty fast. And then they do these online quizzes.
Beauty, isn't it? So small and delicate. It would be a worthy addition to anybody's collection.
There's not many pubs that I would say
Is £1,000.
we could call it
£1,000.
a sanctuary in Bournemouth now. We've lost the Hollybush.
Yeah.
That's now a bastard day nursery, little raccoons.
Yeah.
I don't think it did anything after Paul Hussein left.
Human skull. You imagine
Because I went round there when it was shooting star, and I always made a little sentimental pit stop on the Sunday, and I'll park up and the weeds are coming through the concrete at the smoking area where the picnic table still were, and I wish now I could have nicked that pub sign. Or actually possibly can just take that pub sign. I'll take some memento from it, because pub signs of today aren't the way they used to be. Because they were like a piece of art, wasn't it? It was artwork. Now it's all clinical and neutral and looks tacky, it's awful. And then I remember seeing on the I've got took pictures of it. These premises will be opening shortly, but it never did. And then next thing we see is that video on YouTube of the chartered surveyors going through the pub, and you can just see the bar still there, obviously stripped bare. You got the bit where the pool table used to be, the old mantle fireplace with the beamed mantelpiece.
Newgate prison, isn't it?
Yeah, the passageway, which, although it didn't go down there, which went to the toilets. And then it cuts back, and before it turns to the little gate, to the little trapdoor into bar, you can just see the bit where we were sat on that comfy sofas, which is the bit which was filled in 1980s. For some strange reason, that's covered up by a great big sheet of 10 by 4 plywood. That bit's blocked off. I don't know why that was. And then of course it then goes, I think, not sure if it goes down into the cellar then comes back up, and then it starts exploring on the ground floor. In the back, you see the kitchen, you see the little where the refrigerators are, and then it goes upstairs, and there's a smaller kitchen. So it's like a self-contained flat in a way. It's a small kitchen with a sink and a microwave. And they go into these beamed rooms, and it's so haunting to see the place so empty.
Who are you?
I tried to explain to Gusha, I said,
Asked you who you were.
you'd have loved that place.
His mother.
You'd have loved it.
We were colleagues. He was really.
It's
That's
like,
where the ghost was on that flight of stairs up, going up to upstairs, the bearded
What do you
man.
mean? Is there perhaps something that you should tell me?
He brought something back with him the night he was killed. He didn't shoot me. He took it
look
in
that.
What could it have been?
I don't know. But whatever it was, it changed
Oh yeah,
Changed him? In what way?
the way he spoke to me. He never had before. He was always gentle.
that's why it's like that.
You think that this thing changed him?
Yes, it made him evil.
I wonder what it could have been.
I don't know. Now, if you excuse me, I'll get my things.